Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 4 of Knitting in the Northwest. My name is Nancy. I will be your host today, as I am every day. Um, Today is Friday, and I just looked, but I can't remember, May 9th. I am recording from the Pacific Northwest, hence the name Knitting in the Northwest. It's been 2 weeks since I last recorded, and I have a lot. I have a lot to talk about. I went to a cast-on party last weekend and cast on 6 new WIPs. I don't have a count of how many works in progress I've got going right now. You can see my WIP cubbies behind me, and somebody did comment that they were looking a little sparse. And after I load everything up, because I'm sitting with 6, 7, I think I have 8 current WIPs that I'm working on, including the 6 new ones that I cast on. And so after I record this today, I will fill up the cubbies and they will be bursting at the seams. So, hi, hello, welcome. Thanks for coming back, watching me again. I appreciate all of you. I've had a pretty large bump in subscribers since I podcast last. So welcome to all of you that have seen me before. Welcome back. And to all of the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. I love all the comments, the likes. It just kind of helps me grow my little channel here. So grab your project, grab a beverage. It's warm here. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm recording. I think we're supposed to get almost to 80 today. So I'm loving the weather. I have ice water that I'm drinking, although I just finished making a pot of cold brew coffee. So tomorrow I can start drinking my cold brew, which is my favorite summer drink. Although after tomorrow, it's supposed to get back into the 60s and be wet all week. So spring in the Northwest, you never know. We're quite the roller coaster. So let's get started. What am I wearing? I am wearing, and I'm not going to stand up this time because I have stuff in my lap even. I have so many bags around and everywhere. But I am wearing the summer, I think it's Summer Noose, SOMMERKNUS. It's kind of an all-over textured sweater. It's a very fun knit because each section is a different stitch, so it gives you you're anxious. It's like working something that's got stripes in it. You're anxious to get to the next stripe. This is by Elspeth Judith. I think she pronounces her last name Judith. I made this last summer, and I made this out of Trilogyyarns sport weight in the color blush. It's a fun one. I would like to say I would like to knit it again. Very seldom, with the exception of one pattern I seem to make a lot of. I don't repeat patterns, but this one I would consider repeating again. So it's the Summer Noose by Elspeth Judith. That's what I'm wearing. So I have 2 finished objects and 1 hoe. The first finished object I don't have. I knit a sweater for the yarn store Heart to Heart Knitting in Poulsbo, Washington. and I had it on my iPad and it just went away, so I'm going to pull it up again. I actually spent last weekend there at Lisa's shop um, doing a trunk show for her. Most of you know that I was the founder and original owner of Trilogyyarns, and at the end of last year, I sold it to Carrie out of Boise, Idaho, and I'm still involved in the business kind of remotely. Um, so Carrie was doing a trunk show at Heart to Heart and was unable to attend. So I went, and it was good to see all of my old customers. And if any of you are watching, thanks for coming in and shopping. It was the P&W crawl, which is South Seattle area. But anyway, I did finish the Catchu by Audrey Borrego, and I showed it last time. It was a sweater, like I say, a sample that I knit for Lisa. I knit it out of Yarn Citizen Harmony in the fingering weight in the color mulberry. So all I have is a picture of it blocking. I know this doesn't really count much. I am going to show it to you. It's just a basic sweater. The pattern had long sleeves. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of a glare. Lisa wanted short sleeve, but on the bottom is this beautiful lace work. So I was happy to knit that for her, and I was happy that I was done. It in the darker yarns, it was a little hard for me to see, but it was a fun knit. And for those of you that don't know, Audrey Borrego is a French pattern designer and has made all of her patterns free on Ravelry. She's got some gorgeous ones. In fact, I did cast on another one. So if you haven't looked at her patterns, go and look at them. And she's got some great ones. So that's finished project number 1. I'm going to set my notes up here. Finished project number 2. I did finish another Salty Air sweater by Samantha Guerin. Salty Air is my favorite pattern. I knit it over and over again. So this one is done. It's got the beautiful lace yoke. This one I knit out of Wool Addicts. I do have an extra skein here. The Wool Addicts Pride collection. And the colorway was color 23. The makeup of this yarn is, I believe it is a DK weight. So in this 100-gram put up, it had 280 meters. And the makeup is 40% linen, 32% cotton, 28% viscose. So here's the yarn, Wool Addicts. And I did it in this gorgeous silver color. It's just got this really nice sheen. So when I did block it, as any of you know that have worked with linen, linen does soften up. So I'm anxious to put this on. I actually was going to wear it today, and I thought, no, I'll show it as a finished object. So I may be wearing this one tomorrow. I think the weather's still going to be warm. So I'm just going to toss that over there. I do have a hoe. And for those of you that don't understand knitting language, a hoe is a half finished object. I did finish a sock. This is my car project. So I did get this finished, and it's just my basic sock pattern. I do my socks toe up. I start with Judy's Magic Cast On. Here's all my stitch markers. I do, after I've increased, I start on Magic Loop, and then after I've increased, I do switch over to a 9-inch circular. I'm total team 9-inch circular. For my foot, I do 70 rows for my size of foot. I do 70 rows for the foot. I do a fish lips kiss version of a heel. I've always done a short row heel, so I've incorporated fish lips kissed into it a little bit. And then on the shorty, I just did 20 rows after I finished the heel, and I did a really stretchy bind off. I usually do a sewn bind off, especially on socks. It gives it some stretch so you can get it up over your heel. So I just did a bind off, so it's got a little bit of a rolled cuff. Sometimes I'll do a little rib. This time I just chose to do a little bind off. So I have the hoe, which will take us right into our works in progress. So I did cast on the other sock, and see if I can get it untangled here. I have that much done. So I do have the toe done. I have switched over to my 9-inch circulars, and here is my marker from after I finished all my increases on my toe. I do use a US 1, and I do 64 stitches, and that seems to be the good recipe that works for me. So, and that just kind of led us right into WIPS. So let's get started, and I am just going to randomly pick a project bag. So the cast on party, if you don't watch Karma's a Stitch on YouTube, you need to. Tanya is an amazing, prolific knitter, and I would say maybe twice a year she does a Zoom cast on party. This time we had, I'm counting the slots that I saw, I think 11 people that joined. 4 or 5 were from the UK, so their time is much different than ours. Some of them, I think the longest person stayed on till 4 in the morning from the UK. Denise, you're a warrior. So it started at 10 o'clock Tanya's time, and she's in Boise, so I think that's Mountain Time. I started at 9 o'clock Pacific Time, and I stayed on, I think, till about 8 o'clock or so. I was done. I couldn't do anymore. Last time I did it, I stayed on the whole time, but still recovering from the shoulder replacement, and my arm was letting me know that I was done. All together, I think the total count for all of the new WIPs that what did I say, 8, 9, 10, 11 of us cast on was 96. 96 new WIP babies were launched into the world on Saturday. That is a lot. One gal, I think she cast on 11. She put a message out, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, that brings her WIP count to 49. That's a lot. Granted, they're both knit and crochet. I don't have that many needles. I do crochet. I don't think, and I'm just thinking in my head, I don't know if you can see the wheels turning or not, I don't think I have currently any crocheted projects going. There's a scrappy blanket. I keep thinking about starting, but I'm debating whether I want to do a crocheted, just a granny square with a neutral color to join them all, or if I want to do like a larger mitered square. It is a DK weight. So I haven't decided, and I will wait until I roll the dice to make that decision. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, so all of the WIPs I have behind me, once a week I have a dice app on my iPad, and I roll a dice, and it tells me which WIP to work on for a week. And I totally stole that from Tanya from Karma's a Stitch. So this way I can be monogamous for a week. And if I do finish a project, I can roll the dice earlier, or I've got in the closet, which you can't see over here, I have more projects lined up in project bags to go. And that way I don't get bored. You know, if I'm working a week on just basic stockinette sweater, I'm a big garment knitter. The majority are garments. If I'm really bored and the week is up, I can pull something that's like an all over color work or, you know, a big textured. And honestly, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, so let's talk about my new WIPS that I cast on. I may have said that before. Let's start with this bag. And what is in, oh, okay. So this is another Audrey Borrego sweater that I am doing. And let me see if I can pull the picture. It's a gorgeous textured sweater. It's got beautiful texture detail under the arms all the way down, and it goes along the bottom. It is called Tolosa, Tolosa. Let me see, what is this? Nope. Okay, this is just on my knit companion. Hopefully you can see the pattern on the bottom, and it does go up under the armpits. Sadly, there's not a picture. Yeah, there's not a picture of it under the armpits. But this pattern, and it's just some cables with twisted stitches, does go up the armpit, up under the armpit. So I did cast on the Tolosa, and I am using Cascade Heritage, which is okay, it is a fingering weight. I can tell you what the makeup of it is. Here's Cascade Heritage, and it is it's a 75/25 merino nylon. I don't know that it's given me. It is, yeah, it's a 437 yards for the 100 gram put up. So it's a 75/25. So I cast this one on, and I am, let's see, this is where I'm at. So I'm still doing, that's the back, there's the front. So it is top down. I have done the ribbing. I do twisted rib on all my ribbing, whether the pattern calls for it or not, although I do believe this one does. So I've cast on, I've done the short rows in the back, and I'm currently working on the raglan increases. So that's where I'm at with this one. And this is in the colorway, I should have told you when I had that out. My first time working with Cascade Heritage, I like it. I really like it. It's 5613. I did look that up. And that is in the color Tutu, appropriately named. So that was one of my cast-ons. And then what I did, because on Saturday, with casting on 6, I worked on each project for a little over an hour, and then I started the next project. So this week I have been spending one day working on each project, and then they'll go on the WIP wall. I wanted to get a good start on them before I put them on the WIP wall. That is one that I'll show you in the future. Another cast on, and this was my purchase from local yarn store day from my local LYS Applewood Yarn Barn. And Sorella had sent her some yarn, or not sent her, she had purchased some Sorella yarn. I've never worked with Sorella before. Here is her tag. So I chose her classic DK, and it is, the colorway is My Tears. Let's see if I know what the makeup. Oh, it's 100% superwash merino. I am doing the pattern called Get Out of the Pool. This is a pattern written by Beth McDonald Stone, and it was written for exclusively, well, not exclusively, because you could do it with whatever you want, but it was written for hand-dyed yarns. A lot of you know that when you work with hand-dyed yarns, you need to alternate skeins so you don't get any pooling or flashing of colors in variegateds. So this one was written for that. So this is what I've done. It is knit. It's knit flat, but all in one piece, I believe. I believe this is the back. So you start with the ribbing, and then you'll knit down, and then I think you go back, and I'm not going to tell too much because it is a paid pattern. I think you go back and pick up stitches. I think. Or maybe you start the front just like the back, and then you sew your shoulders together. I haven't got that far yet. But anyway, this is gorgeous. This is in just a real light gray, and it's got just a little smattering of pink in it. So this is My Tears on Classic DK by Trilogyyarns. First time working with her yarn. It's very soft. I have seen her yarns. She was at Flock last year, and I know that she'll be back to Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle this year, which is in, I think it's in August. So I may have to get some more of hers, but yeah. So this is Get Out of the Pool. The one that I was working on today that I wanted to spend some time on is called the Extra Light Bright Sweater. That one is by, what is that by? Woolen Pine. So Extra Light Bright Sweater, Woolen Pine. It is a fade. I am just going to do it in one color. And the color I'm doing is Life in the Long Grass. I wonder where. Here. So this is also just a gray neutral. A little bit of flecks of, there's some pink and purple in this one. This is fingering weight. And the makeup of this yarn, it's their Twist Sock, which is an 80/20. And I think the colorway is Moonbow. I looked on the label. That's what it looked like. When I put it in my projects on Ravelry and I put the color number in, nothing came up, but I believe it said Moonbow. So this is where I'm at. So this one is knit top down. And you start in the back. And then you do a little bit of short row shaping, and then you start with your raglan increases, and you start increasing around the shoulders to the front. I think I have about 10 more rows of increasing before I join it, and then I'll just work in the round. This is gorgeous. I seem to have a theme going, grays and pinks. I think that's my color, summer color for the year for summer garments. But Extra Light Bright by Wool and Pine. And I like their patterns. I just finished one of their vests. It was on one of my prior episodes. All right, let's move on. Another one that I cast on, and this is also in Cascade Heritage. I bought the pink and the blue at Heart to Heart last weekend. I had only taken 3 projects over to cast on, but I got a little crazy and bought yarn for 3 more. So this is Cascade Heritage and 75-25 fingering in the color Placid Lake. And for this one, I cast on the, it's by Tori Yu, I'll tell you that, the Skyline Tee. And after I cast this on and went to put the project in, oh, I'm right in the middle of a row, went to put the project on Ravelry on my project page, I realized I already have one in my WIPS. So I shan't cast on any more until I get a handle on these WIPS. But without giving too much away, the Skyline Tee has got this great detailed saddle shoulder. So you actually knit the 2 shoulder pieces first. And I'm right in the middle of a row. I shouldn't do that. And I don't even have point protectors on, so I'm being very careful here not to drop stitches. But you cast on for the saddle shoulders, and then you pick up and cast on for the back neck. And so I'm going to go down. I've not read ahead yet, but I think you go down to where you split for the arms, and then you go back and do the front, and then you join it in the round. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one, the Skyline Tee. So that was one of my WIPs. Another one of my WIPs was the Turtle Poof, which is by Hedgehog Fibers. So there's 3 different patterns in the Turtle Poof collection. I have done the Turtle Poof cardigan. There is a Turtle Poof sweater, and the one I just cast on is the I totally got that wrong. And I don't edit. So I'm going to back up about 30 seconds. I have done the Le Poof cardigan by Hedgehog Fibers. There is also a Le Poof sweater. The reason that the pattern is called Le Poof or Poof is the sleeves are very big, and then they shrink down to your cuff. So they're kind of poofy. And it is a fade. Hedgehog has written them as fades. And I did fade my cardigan, but I'm now doing the Turtle Poof, which the Turtle Poof has a big collar. So you start with the collar. So here is my collar for their Turtle Poof. So it's gonna just drape over like a nice big cowl collar when it's done. I have just started doing increases for the raglan sleeve. So you do this 9.5 inches of collar, and then you go into the sweater. And I am doing this out of Trilogyyarns. This is some yarn that I kept when I sold the business. I'm doing it in the Glamour Space, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. This is the raspberry color. And I'm just holding Surrey in the Blizzard colorway together. One color. I have done another sweater with the Surrey and the fingering held double, and it is so soft when you wear it. It's just, everybody wants to pet you. So this is what I've got for the Turtle Poof. There's my, So that is the turtle poof. And what's nice about carrying him, holding him double, is I'm not going to have to alternate skeins. So that'll make it nice. That way you're not managing 4 skeins of yarn, you're just managing 2. So that is the turtle poof by Hedgehog Fibers. That is a free pattern. So you can look it up on Ravelry, and then if you go to download the pattern, it does send you to Hedgehog Fibers website. So that is the turtle poof. What's in this bag? You guys wouldn't believe all these bags. This one is I have to look. I always have to put little notes in my bags that tell me which project is in which bag. I don't print paper patterns. I use Knit Companion and try not to lose my patterns. But this one is the step-by-step cardigan. It is by Florence Miller, and I'm using Fiber Company Cumbria. It is a worsted weight. And this is the color ISEL, I-S-E-L. So it is a blend of wool, merino, and mohair. Let me see if it tells you the... They always put the price tags right over that, don't they? It is it's 90% wool. It says 90% wool, 10% mohair. I believe it is non-superwash. Yeah, Fiber Company Cumbria. I am really sensitive to fibers. I don't think I would be able to wear this next to skin, but as a cardigan, I think I'm going to be just fine. And this is as far as I've gotten on that. So I have started the raglan increases. I am increasing for the front. It is top down. I will split for the sleeves when I get to sleeves, and it's a knit back and forth. And then when it's done, I'll pick up the bands. But a good basic gray, I told you the colors are pink and gray, I guess. Good basic gray sweater. So this is the step-by-step cardigan by Florence Miller. And it looks like, as far as I've gotten into the pattern, it's a very well-written pattern. So if you are a beginning garment knitter, this one might be a good choice. So step-by-step cardigan. And I think the last one I had was not a whip. Well, it is a whip. It's not a whip I cast on. I actually cast this one on at the last cast on party, which I believe was sometime in the fall. I am doing the Dustland Blanket by Stephen West. And the Dustland Blanket is an all-over textured blanket. It does come in 3 sizes. I am doing the middle size, so larger than a lap blanket, smaller than a queen size, though. I don't know the dimensions. I'm sure he gave them. And I probably will just knit until I run out of yarn. But the texture stitches, they're so fun. I am doing this out of Trilogyyarns. This was some that I dyed and kept. This is in the merino, silk, and yak the DK, in the colorway Eggplant. Gorgeous. I wish you guys could reach through the screen and feel this. This is an amazing fiber. The yak gives it such depth of color when you dye it, and it's super warm. The silk gives it that nice little sheen. Gorgeous. This will be a long-term project. I think I dyed up 10 skeins of this, so 231 yards per skein, and I am still on the first skein. But yeah, so this is the Dustland Blanket. By Stephen West, using yarn from Trilogy. Wow, I think I did that in like 35 minutes. Trying to keep these episodes short because I don't want people to get bored. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, I should remind you that Trilogyyarns is currently having a 20% off sale. Everything in their shop except their advents with the code, and I will put the code down below. The discount code is spring 20% sign, the percent sign. So that is good for 20% off across the board. Anything you enter the code in at checkout. That will be good until the end of May. So you still have 2.5 weeks to take advantage of that. And also let you know Carrie does have 2 advents already listed for pre-order. The first one is Christmas in July, which is a 31 mini skein, and I believe a full skein. So every day in July you get to open a mini skein, and then an extra full skein. So she does, and then all the extra goodies that she'll throw in. And that one will ship about the middle of June. So I do believe the pre-orders for the Christmas in July Advent do close the end of May. And she also has her Halloween Advent listed. And also for that one, she's doing 31 20-gram minis and a full skein, a full 100-gram skein. That will ship mid-September. And the pre-orders probably will close mid-August. All the details are on the website, and that's Trilogyyarn.com. So go and support Carrie, give her some love, take advantage of the sale. The merino yak and silk, and it's called the Silky Yak DK, is an amazing fiber. And she does have some new colorways. She's been developing colorways that I didn't have. Gorgeous, gorgeous colorways. So go show Carrie some love. And I'm looking out the window, looking outside to think that maybe if there's anything I've missed, somebody's going to hold a sign up out the window and tell me what I forgot. But honestly, I think I have it all. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the nice comments, all the likes, all the new subscriptions. You guys are amazing. I feel like when I'm doing this, I'm talking to my friends, and I would love to consider you all my friends. If you ever see me out in the wild, certainly come and say hi. I will have down below the discount code. I will have all the places you can reach me: Instagram, Gmail, and Ravelry. I am so proud of myself. I'm keeping up on my Ravelry projects, and you know what? It's not as hard as I had imagined. Yeah. So you guys know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe. I love reading your comments. Tell me what you're working on. I do have a lot of extra yarn in my stash, so I'm going to try not to cast on a project, but if somebody tells me what they're working on and I fall in love with it, I, I cannot be responsible for what I do. I don't know if you guys can see the picture that's hanging on the wall. What it says on front, it says, or it's actually like a shadow box. The front of it says break in case of emergency. And inside I have yarn. I thought about putting M&Ms in there, but I'd be forever breaking the glass. So I've got yarn in there. Kind of fun. I haven't worked on my cross stitch at all this week. Was too busy trying to finish up the sample knit for Lisa and doing the cast-ons. I'm going to try to get back into the cross stitch. So hopefully by the time I podcast in 2 weeks, I'll have some progress. So with that, I'm going to wish all the mothers and the fathers that are raising children by themselves, they are mothers too. I'm going to wish you all a happy Mother's Day. I hope you get the day off if you can. I know that I was a single parent. Mother's Day, you don't get, nobody cooks for you. You don't get the day off. But if you can take the day off, enjoy it. I hope you can pick up and do something that you love to do, whether it's gardening, reading, working on a project. Just enjoy the day, because we are hardworking people. Mothers are hardworking people. I don't know where we would be without our moms and mothers in our lives. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. I will see you on Sunday. And everybody else, have a good 2 weeks. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. All right. Bye now.